Hi guys. I am going to give you this presentation in kind of bite-sized form, um, and I will upload the videos one at a time. So let's get right to it. So one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about graphic designers and creative people in general is that it is via magic and chaos that a design happens. And for a lot of us, those of us who are fine artists especially, that may be actually part of our process, right? Magic and chaos. So you get this great idea, you're inspired, you're in the right place at the right time, and you can just kind of let that flow, right? A lot of times you're doing these ideas kind of for yourself, right? Big misconception, right? A lot of people think that everything that we do just happens, and a lot of times we think that in order to create a design, it'll just happen, right? What we fail to understand in both directions is that in order for really great design to happen, it takes time and it takes order. Not a ton of order, not all order, right? Because that can make us feel stale, confined, constrained. But we have to have just a little bit, right, of structure to what we're doing so that we can come up with a balance that keeps us inspired and mentally entertained, right? But doesn't cost us a ton of time or extra money or, passing deadlines and things like that. So we have to balance both of these things in order to be successful. So our first step is orientation, right? So if you think about, starting high school or starting where you had to go to an orientation, right? You start a new job, you have to do orientation. And it is what it sounds like it is, right? It is to orient yourself, right? It is to help you figure out where you are and how to do things and how to locate things and where your resources are. And we have to do this at the beginning of a design project as well. So I'm just going to cover the bullet points here. And then I'll let you read through the presentation. But our first part of this orientation is to understand the problem, right? We cannot go much further until we understand exactly what it is we're being asked to do, okay? A lot of times, the words that the client uses to ask are not the same as the words that we might have been taught, okay? And that's okay, right? Part of any of these relationships is being able to meet in the middle somewhere, right? We're never going to correct each other's language. We're never going to make somebody feel less than because they didn't know the proper word for some design thing or whatever, right? That's not the point. But do understand, a lot of times clients will come to you and they're asking for like a business card. And you need to ask them, do you mean something like this, like a business card? Or do you mean a whole brand identity that a business card is part of? Like, do you have a logo? And you might be shocked to know that a lot of business owners consider the business card to basically be the brand identity, right? So make sure you understand what you're being asked to do. Make sure your client understands that sometimes there are differences, right? So a business card is part of a brand identity. And if they do not have a logo or color palette and stuff, we are happy to do that. But that is in addition to creating a business card, not part of a package, right? Define the audience. So this is super important. Um, some of the more difficult conversations to have with a client is when you have to let them know that it's okay if they don't like a design, because while the client is paying for the design, you're not designing for them. You're designing for the people that they are trying to do business with, right? So um, if your client is, I don't know, like a company that makes toys, right? And your client is a grown man, right? You may not be, the designs that you come up with may not appeal to a grown man, but they are going to appeal to the younger people for whom the toys are designed, and the people with the wallets who are going to buy the toys. So sometimes the client doesn't like the design. You are constantly going to have to remind some of them that you have expertise in this field, you understand who the client is trying to sell to or appeal to. You know that those people prefer these things, and so it would be more appropriate if the design contained those things instead of stuff that your client actually likes, right? Conduct your research always, 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 always. Even if your research is from, a few months back. We live in a very on-demand world. Things change all the time, and very, very quickly. This is the information age. Stuff can get posted right now and within an hour reach every corner of the globe. Opinions can change very quickly. What worked last month may have fallen out of favor this month, right? It doesn't mean you have to redo your research, right? But touch base with your research, right? If you happen to do research last month on this very similar thing, look it up again just to make sure that nothing has changed when you weren't paying attention. Because you want to make sure you avoid a pitfall of designing something that has fallen out of fashion, right? Or has become insulting, or has taken on a different connotation altogether because of some current event. Okay? So conduct your research, right? Be thorough. The other thing is, make sure that you also research what kind of business your client does, right? So it's not good enough just to know that, 25 to 45-year-old people of this, prefer this. Look at what kind of business your client is in, right? Do research on that kind of business. See what the trends are in that sort of space, okay? How do they interact with their clients? Is it a very hands-on, personal sort of way? Is it a more distanced, business transaction kind of way, right? Make sure that you know all of these things. Make sure that you have a basic understanding of the actual service that they offer or product that they sell, right? This will save you from making designs or suggestions that may end up being anything from, silly to kind of catastrophic, right? Just because you don't know the product. Okay? Ask your client about their product. Ask your client about their service. Almost always, they are more than happy to tell you about those things, because hopefully they're proud of those things, right? Ask them what sets them apart, right? What makes them different from other businesses who perform, the same sorts of services or sell similar sorts of products, right? What makes them stand out, right? What makes them successful in this space? When there is such fierce competition. All right, so here are these slides. Understand the problem, right? Here are the bullet points. Here's the audience one, and here is the research one. Okay, and our next one is analyze the data. So I'm going to stop this one here, and we will pick up on the next video.